Oysters have been farmed for food since ancient times. The filter feeders are grown in intertidal areas around the world. In Northern California in the 1950s, Coast Seafoods began farming oysters in Humboldt Bay. For years, it paved the bay bottom with oyster shells to grow seed, hydraulically harvesting oysters when they matured.
In the old days, this piece of shell was just scattered out in the mud. So if it had oysters on both sides of the shell, all the oysters that ended up, or all the babies that ended up in the mud died, and all the ones on the top would make it.
But the practice damaged ecologically important eelgrass that supports birds and aquatic life. Oyster predators like bat rays were killed in large numbers. When regulators pressed for changes, Coast Seafoods began to experiment with growing oysters on lines suspended off the bay bottom. This eliminated the need to kill bat rays and proved less harmful to eelgrass. The company shrank the size of its operation, but also noticed some increases in productivity.
Today, the way we do it is we stick in a piece of rope, and so everything lives all the way around, so you end up with a big cluster like what you see here.
The company's 300 acres of oyster beds now have a much lighter footprint, and it's at the front end of a major regulatory effort by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. While working in Humboldt Bay, the Corps recognized that oysters improve water quality and other aquatic functions, and it's now developing a nationwide permitting process for all existing shellfish operations. It requires growers to avoid disrupting native aquatic species and birds and their spawning and breeding areas, a process that balances the value of shellfish as a source of food with sensible measures to protect the environment. For Assignment Earth, I'm Gary Stryker.